So I think this is a fair statement. I can understand why a lot of people of color don't date white people. But I'm just going to talk about why race for me is not a major factor when determining the types of people that I date. This is 100% personal, so if you don't like it, I don't know what to tell you. But as a woman who dates men, I think that generally men are not a source of safety and protection for me. When I was growing up, my mom did not prioritize marriage or dating for my sister and I. And so I was a late bloomer. I didn't start dating really until I was 24 years old. And this also coincided with me moving to Belgium. So at first when I started dating, I didn't know what I liked. So I was going on dates with everyone who asked me to. And so the more I started dating, the more I learned about what I liked. And what I realized about dating is that the qualities that I typically seek out in men are very specific, but I also find that they're not qualities that men typically embody. So, for example, something that is extremely important for me is dating a man who has extreme emotional intelligence, someone who is in touch with their feelings. I have no room in my life for any sort of toxic masculinity or performative masculinity. I think that this quality is one that most men do not actually have.
There you have it, folks. It's just crazy. There you have it. Because she says that, she feels that men are just not a safe space for her anymore. Like, in my opinion, this is my personal experience. Men are not a safe space. But I mean, once again, you're describing a guy who is a imp. You're describing a guy who is like Akash. She would literally want a guy who is like Akash. And we are all seeing the video of Akash getting thrashed. That man is getting thrashed. But once again, that is the type of man women will say is a real man. But it's like you see that man has no pull in that relationship whatsoever. On this channel, perception is key. And when I'm just looking at the tattoos on her body, I know some women are going to say, why does tattoos matter? For some women, it doesn't matter. Let's just be honest. It doesn't matter. But perception is key. And when I sit here and see tattoos and when I just look at how she looks, she gives off an aura of a woman who screams, I am a victim, who has probably played in the victim Olympics at some point in time in her life, right? And as you can see here, it seems like she's playing a pretty good victim, if you ask me. Once again, she say it is her experience, but it's just so funny that you go on TikTok and there are other feminists and other women who literally has the exact same talking points and the exact same experience this woman has. But once again, these women will always say, oh, I can't speak for other women, until you sit here and say, well, nah, women need to be that hell. Well, women need to be taking care of the kids and taking care of the household. Then all of a sudden, oh, well, no, I'm speaking for all women now. It's just ridiculous, but let's continue.
Emotional intelligence is foundationally what I need to feel safe in a relationship with a man the most. I need someone who's attuned to the world, who's open to other cultures, someone who's intelligent. I need someone who's a lifelong learner, who can teach me new things, who's attuned to the art, someone whose taste aligns with mine. And all of these things that I'm listing, again, they're not specific to one particular race, and they're just criteria that I feel like I need to be attracted to someone. When it comes to physicality, I am not attracted to any one race, because I also prioritize features over skin color. I am more drawn to someone who has distinct features that I typically don't see everywhere else. So again, this is something that I realized while I was dating, that the men that I was drawn to didn't look like everyone else. It could be tattoos, it could be the way that they dress. Like men dressed like finance bros, for example, do nothing for me. Or someone who dressed too on trend. I like it when someone has like a distinct sense of style. And even that for me is very specific, because I'm also not a woman who I don't accept projects into my life, for example. A man has to come to me already with his own interests, his own sense of style. And these qualities are never actually concentrated into one ethnic group. Anyone can possess them. And so it's all about the package for me, the vibe, the aura of the person. And that's essentially what I get along with. Someone who's attuned to the world typically won't be racist or sexist. Usually when you have these core principles down, you will find that everything else typically aligns. And so that's just my approach to dating. If I dated women, I think it would be a lot different, for sure, when I think about it. But I just think that dating men in and of itself is too risky for me to focus on something that is not so consequential in the end for me.
Once again, guys, red flags. Red flags. She said that, hey, well, I need a guy who's going to align with my taste. Well, guys, that is just another indicator. That's another red flag that she will combat your leadership. She will see herself as an equal. She will see herself as somebody that is up there with you when it's like, man, we both got roles. We both have roles. I'm not saying that I'm bigger than you, but we both have roles. We both have roles, man. You gotta play your role, but she won't play that. I promise you, she will not play that. She is very combative, and you can hear it. And the fact that she's automatically saying that, well, I don't feel safe, in a man's presence or whatnot, that's red flag number one. Then red flag number two, you have to get on her programming, meaning that she will not allow you to lead. She will not allow you to be the man that you need to be in the household. Once again, these are the same women who will jump in these comments saying, oh, well, you don't know what you're talking about. Women are not like this. Here's the sad part about it. So many of these same women say that not many women are like this, but yet they are the same ones who are exactly like that. That's just a sad case that men are dealing with. Once again, they will say Akash is a real man, but he's not even a leader in his own home. And then you have an issue with a finance bro. Then you just have to ask her, what do you expect your man to make? What does your man have to make to satisfy you? What does your man have to make to satisfy you? I just gotta know, because if your answer is the same as any of the sisters that you saw on Kendra G and the Kevin Samuel show, then a finance bro will probably work for you. But this is also proof that your average woman still look at your average man as somebody that is below them, unless if there is another meaning of finance bro. And then to sit here and say that, well, I think it's a risk for me to date men. That's just me personally. To me, that's narcissistic behavior. If you ask me, that's narcissistic behavior, because you trying to make it seem as if it's not a risk for everybody. Anybody who dates it's a risk for them, because you don't really know this person, and you don't have a leash on this person. This person can sit here and mess up your life. Once again, 70 to 80% of your women initiate divorce. They destroy families all day, every single day. So you don't know what your woman is capable of. You don't know what the man is capable of. So it's always a risk. And 70 to 80% of your men are taking a risk, and they're losing. They end up losing the custody of their children. They end up having to lose money because they got to pay child support. They got to pay alimony. So once again, it's always a risk, and it's more of a risk for a man than it is for a woman. This is the dating market. These are the type of sisters that you're going to have in the dating market. These are the sisters that are in the sisterhood. People, just look at this video she made.
I think if we accept that the women who typically seek to be trad wives are just women who wouldn't be able to make it in the world outside of their husbands, then it's not actually that controversial. We are living in a time where women now have as much autonomy as they've ever had. And when we consider that our grandmothers and great-grandmothers didn't have even a slither of the opportunities that we have today, and largely got married because they couldn't make money on their own, then we don't really have to guess and wonder why a woman would give up her full financial autonomy and place that in the hands of a man today. But ask any grandma and they will tell you that that is one of the worst decisions that you can possibly make as a woman. And that's why becoming a trad wife is not really popular these days. But amongst the women who do seek out this lifestyle, outside of the ones who are born into wealth, the great majority of the rest of them just do not have the capacity or the desire to make it on their own. And to be honest, I think it's okay. There's no way in hell I would personally do it myself. But women have been making this decision for eons now. And I think the reason why it's controversial now is just because it's not that popular. Whereas women in the 50s who didn't have husbands and chose to go to work and didn't have children, they were the taboo then. But just due to the culture that we live in now, being a trad wife is now the taboo.
Ma'am, of course you wouldn't do it. Of course you wouldn't do it. That's why you are on here still crying and complaining, still trying to do what other single, bitter baby mothers or single, bitter women do. Just sit here and try to push false narratives and try to scare other women and not want to deal with men. It's just sad. It's just sad that you have these type of sisters out here. It's just sad that these are the type of sisters that we have in the sisterhood, because it's just sad. I would say most of your sisterhood, the majority of your sisterhood, are combative. They're not marriage material. And I know some women are going to say, well, you know, not everybody trying to get married. I get it. I know, right? But somehow, some way, 70-80% of them wants to be single mothers, though. That makes sense, right? But y'all guys let me know down below, man. What do y'all guys think? Do me a huge favor. Leave me a like, leave me a comment, subscribe to the channel. Till the next one.